All right, welcome on in, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. Uh, Welcome on in, Free Heathen, Da Vinci, Phantom. Welcome in, Apollo. Thank you for being here. It's going to be a good day here in the Dragon Den, provided, fingers crossed, that the thunderstorms that are going through the area don't take us out like they did last week, because that sucked just right in the middle of the stream. Everything gone. Um, but yeah, welcome on in, everybody. A good day for you. That's great to hear, Free Heathen. That's great to hear. So as you can see, we've been making some changes in the background. For those of you that have been here, you'll see that we got our new sign up over here, adding a little bit more lights. Um, I've got a frame over here that's going to be for Black Stack. So eventually you'll see Black Stack maybe over here in this general vicinity. Our Milo's sitting down here on the ground. He's chunky. I don't know why, but I keep doing all these big, heavy builds. Like I'm young and vibrant. But we're having fun. We're doing some great builds. A couple of the builds that we've got going on today, as you know, we're going to be working on a Talon Claw T4. And Apollo, as he says, he says he's partially responsible for this. I'll probably say that Nero and Steve builds kind of got, they seeded it with their builds and their various builds. And then in talking with you, I was like, okay, yeah, I got to do this. So we're getting in on foam dart flingers, aka Nerf blaster designs. And in some cases, this is, you're also expecting thunderstorm. Yeah, they're rolling through a whole swath of the eastern U.S. right now. Hey, Nick, welcome on in. You sent the kits to Steve and Nero. Okay, then sorry, dude, you're completely responsible then. You sent it to them. They built them. Now I'm having to build one. So yeah, it's all you. All you. And if you feel free to send me a kit down the road too if you want. Okay, so we're going to be working on the Talon Claw, and basically what I'm looking at is it's a mag-fed pump action homemade Nerf blaster design, non-commercial license by Captain Slug. You are the OG dealer. Yep, there you go. There you go. So the nice thing is these are the half-size darts. And it's basically, think like pump action. I'll say, I was going to say, uh, it's a pump action shotgun style type of thing, right? But yeah, I'm trying to be somewhat cryptic here because eventually my plan is to cross post this over to YouTube, though lately with the way things are going, I don't know if I want to actually do that. Because YouTube's been knocking people off left and right, and I don't want to stand the chance of getting. I'm not monetized over there, but I kind of don't want to stand the chance of having stuff um, taken offline. But let me go ahead and switch the view here, and that'll bring up our little instruction panel over here. So once again, this is a Talon Claw T4 assembly. There's a few different things and mods. I mean, that's the nice thing about this is a base file. And then you can go from here and do all kinds of crazy things. This is shown with a straight mag. I think I've got straight mags, but you've got the curved mags. You've got the underslung handle. You've got a foregrip handle. There's butt stocks. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do with this design. Yeah, there are many foam flinging YouTubers there you go, as a blaster. There we go. As long as you refer to it as a blaster that fires darts, you're good. I call it a foam flinger. But I have shown some of these off before. This is one of those good uses. I do stab most of my Polymaker bags. Liz, if you're here, I'm sorry. But I have kept about a half dozen just to store parts. And we'll say here are the parts for this particular build. And apparently a piece of filament. But here are the various parts for this build. As far as the printed parts go, there's not a whole heck of a lot of them. You know, some of these will start looking very familiar right now, but I just wanted to get these down and kind of get them over here. And we're also have a set of parts that we picked up from West 3D. We did go through West 3D for this kit. West 3D and Fabrico sell kits. To my knowledge, KB3D is not selling kits just yet. I say just yet. We'll get them into it. We'll get them into it. These are our worker mags. We showed these off on stream before. We won't need these for a little bit. Of course, we need a box of 200 foam darts because you'll need them. This is the main hardware kit here for this. And did get some of those. So there we go. This is it. This is the totality of these parts. So a lot smaller project than we're used to working on stream here. What got Nero was a realistic prop that he called it a, yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, it could be, but yeah, yep, definitely foam flinging. This is a foam flinging implement. You try getting Chris into it. We're gonna keep working on that, Apollo. We're gonna keep working on it. Yeah, a lot less expensive too. So this kit that we got from West 3D, this is actually a kit from Out of Darts, right? So Out of Darts. And as soon as I got this card and I looked at it, I realized I'm going to have to like start getting stuff through here because, well, there's one statement out here or on the back of the card that says, thanks for supporting our shop. Feedback, questions, or a product request, email us directly. If you're happy with the purchase, consider leaving us a review. Luke and the team at Out of Darts. So that is the fourth Luke that I have come in contact with within the 3D printing community. So right then and there, you got me. I'll be ordering some more stuff. Hey, Bexy Beans, how's it going? With more foam darts? You are being hit with foam darts? And sorry, dear, but your husband's already on here. I miss you too, Bexy. We'll see you soon, I'm sure. Both Out of Darts and Silver Fox Industries are very good vendors. Yes, very much so. So they talk about a lot of things in here. You're welcome and encouraged to modify the files any way you want. Majority of the parts can be printed with infill as low as 20% in PLA, but I'd recommend printing in layers of 300 microns or smaller. It's advisable to print with 1.5 to 2 millimeter walls per perimeters. So figure out what your line width is and divide that into 1.5 or 2 to figure out how many walls. He's here. Yes, he is. He's here. He heard you. Hardware kits and full blasters. So this is the thing is you can buy the hardware kit. You can buy the hardware kit and printed parts, and you can buy fully assembled. So that's the kind of cool thing here. So you can go to Out of Darts, you can go to Silver Fox. I believe Silver Fox does it as well, but you can get just the hardware, print the parts yourself. You can get it all. So PLA or PETG are best. You can run into some shrinkage issues with ABS or ASA. Also tell Miss Dragon I miss her. Felt like we were all too busy at Murph and too hot and exhausted. Yeah, and she was trying to run around and do some stuff with our young one who lives in that area. So, hey, Zombie, welcome on in. Welcome on in. And yeah, Apulo does say PLA or PETG. There's another comment down here that says do not store in temperatures above 100 or your parts could warp. Well, Apulo tells me this now, but we've got um you're gonna make me. This is 3DO ASA carbon gray, 3DO ASA CF blue, and Polymaker ABS neon orange. So we did do everything here in ABS and ASA. So we will have the heat and the heat and the UV protection on most everything here. And we'll see. If we get into some fitment issues, then maybe we'll have to do something else. And CF filled filament does shrink less. That is true. It's a little more stable. Um, a 1 or 2 mil spacer to keep it from, and that's the thing. If I need to, when I hit that, I will have to figure that out. Um, maybe some colorful West 3D ASA would be good. Well, I do have some ambrosia over there. Um, we'll have to take a look. We'll have to take a look. So anyhow, let's kind of get into it. Um, where's the Talon Claw bar springs, plunger tube, and barrel? Okay. It's printed in KVP ABS. Yeah. Um, but was it KVP ABS back when KVP ABS was good? That's the big question. That's the big question. Um, got another reel today from TFH giveaway, so I will have 2 reels and no printer, but I'm thinking of making a pretend printer from cardboard boxes. No, Bexy, we just need to get you like an A1 Mini. From the last group buy. Okay. Okay, good. So I think we have everything here. I haven't looked through it, and quite honestly, I'm not going to sit here and dig through all of these parts right now. We're just going to assume that whoever packed this did their due diligence when they were packing. Um, and we will get into stuff as we need to. Ooh. Yeah, we're just gonna dump things out like that. That way we got everything right here that we're gonna need, and we'll just have to dig through it as we need to. Printed parts not included. We got those. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, a 3/8 combo wrench or socket, round needle file, power drill, 3/16 drill bit, and super glue. Dang it, I should have read that first so I could have gone down and gotten my 3/8 inch wrench, 3/16 drill bit. What's the 3/16 drill bit for? You need Zombie to come to North Carolina to help you finish your rat rig. Well, Apulo, I actually live in North Carolina. So reach out to me on GitHub because, or not GitHub, on Discord because funny you should be mentioning rat rig. Either Thursday or Saturday, we'll be starting our VCore 4 build with hybrid motors, 300 size. So yeah, Apulo, reach out to me. Like I said, I live here in North Carolina. The state's not that big, and I can help you get yours squared away. 3.1 500. Okay. Yeah, my rat rig's sitting downstairs. And in fact, what we have here is the rat rig VCore 4. I don't know if this is the same way on the V3.1s because this is my first rat rig. It comes with all the printed parts. They're all in what, ABS or ASA. And I don't know if you can tell, they've already got the heat set inserts in them. So I don't even have to do any heat set inserts. They're all ready to go. I mean, it's just bada boom, bada bang. So we will be starting on this either Thursday or Saturday. You had belt issues. I just need to swap out the belts. Okay. Yeah, mine's been sitting downstairs, and now that I've gotten a few bigger things out of the way up here, and I've cleared out some space over here, I'll be able to bring it up here and start working on it. And that was really nice. You're going to swap out the bearings while you're at, yeah. If it's been up and running for a while, it's always good to swap out the bearings. And if you've had belt issues, you might want to check your bearings and just see if it could be those sealed flange bearings that went. Avoid dry firing the blaster excessively. Okay. It also says don't shoot this off inside because, well, it's going to hurt. In here, we've got various different printed parts here. So we've got one set that are in the primary, and our primary is the CF, or yeah, the CF blue. Our secondary is the carbon gray, and or excuse me, yeah, that's the secondary, and the accessory is the neon orange. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm over 20 builds right now. So yeah, I can definitely, and I don't know where, like I said, reach out to me on Discord, Pulo, and we can figure something out. So we want to go through and look at our printed parts and clean up anything and make sure that our use sharp knife deburr the regular. Just fit the aluminum bars. So that's what we need to do. So anything that looks like it has a Picatinny rail in it and a hole, we need to make sure. 1, 2, 3, that one. I feel like there's these two and this piece. So all we're going to do is grab one of our bars and just make sure that it slips in there with no issue. So far so good. I printed these vertically, so I would not anticipate having a bunch of roughed in here. And I printed these vertically on the bamboo with some Vision Miner. So these were laying down, and you'll see where I went ahead and sanded the edges some. The CF blue just left a kind of a a rougher finish than what I wanted. And I think these pieces, at least, I went through and did kind of scrape anything that I saw visually that was down. But all of these are good now. Use a small slotted screwdriver to check the inside of the rectangular slots in the grip. Yep, did that. And use the bars to deburr exactly. The worst part is the plunger tube assembly. There's an extreme bridge at the top. Okay. Check the indicated areas of the lower for sagging. That would be this area right here. I don't see anything. Good fitment there. So that came out good. What else? Obstructed by strands, use a rough needle file or a round needle file to get them squared. I think we're good. Now we're going to kind of start. So we're going to slide the ram print onto the back of the ramrod core. Well, this is starting off interesting already. The ram print ramrod core. This looks like that. Our ram print and our ramrod core. Just looking at it, we've got a slit and a convex on one side. The other side is a straight edge. And we want the side with the two holes, and this one's facing up. That goes in. We want one of our smaller O-rings. I'll just raw right on over. So we got that. We'll need ram. So the ramrod core, the ram F print. We got an O-ring on there. We're going to put the ram B print onto the back, and we're going to make sure that our holes are going to line up there. Until it bottoms out against it. Push the O-ring back against the lip of the ram B print. Yeah. What's a ramrod? Team Ramrod. That's the bit. Stupid ads. Yeah. Thank you for the tier 1 sub, Apollo. I appreciate that. Slide the B until it bottoms out against the push about against it. Push the 12 O-ring back against the lip of the ramrod print. Oh, okay, I got it. So move that kind of forward. We want this to be bottomed out. So there's a little step in that hole there, and we want this ramrod to be bottomed out against it. Then we're going to push the O-ring back up against that printed part. Then we're going to bring this piece back in, making sure that we've got the proper alignment. So the holes here are vertical. There's a hole at the top, which will put these on the side. And we're going to we're going to drive 2 screws into the ram B print. And these are our little baggie of countersunk screws. Hey, Glendon, how's it going? Welcome on in. Yeah, you came right into a ramrod situation, huh? Came right on into the ramrod discussion. And these are some tiny, well, semi-tiny screws. One side started, the other side started. And then drop the part, hopefully without cracking any of your pieces. And what we're doing is just combining these ends so we have a nice O-ring seal between the parts. Everything straight lined up, and we have one piece now. Okay. Now we need to add O-ring 123, Ram B, then add a second in a zigzag pattern. So we've got 3 total large O-rings. Nope, 4 total large O-rings. And we had 3 of the smaller ones. We're going to take one of these, and it goes right around at the back. So we just put one around at the back like that. And then the next one, we're going to kind of do a crisscross pattern. As it fights me. We're going to do like that. One around the back, and then one goes over, under, over, under, over, under. You love this build so much, must be killing everyone the names here. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean, it's the same names that we've used on, I don't know, these real life thingies. So it's not like we're just picking names to pick names. And oh, by the way, we keep going this way. Let me try this out. How does this look? It's gonna take me time to get used to this, but yeah. We've got a new view here. See if I can't move it over a little bit. There. So we got a new view here. Still working on it. I had to finagle some stuff here, so it's slightly off center. I'm using a Elgato flex arm system. So it actually comes up off the back of my, oh, here, let me show you guys. Why not? We'll give you a little shop tour here. So let me turn this one back on. There we go. So this is kind of my setup. I've got this, my computer's down there. So it's like a rolling computer cart with my double monitors. And you can see there's the flex arm. It's actually mounted to the double or the cross arm for the monitors, which means it has to be slightly off to the side. So then I had to do a little bit of bending here. So I'm still working on it. I'm still waiting for another couple of links of bar to come in so that I can get it fully over the tabletop. And then I might replace that C92 or C922 camera just because I think the colors and the brightness and stuff isn't as good as the Brio 4Ks. So anyhow, we've got those in. Now what we need to do is this step right here where we're going to drive a screw in until it clamps against the ramrod core. So this is going to be 2 more of these screws. And they are coming in from, darn it, the top and the bottom. Maybe. Hey, Shrimp Father, welcome on in. You've missed us. We've been working with our ramrod and our printed parts here as we are starting to build our foam dart flinger called a Talon Claw 4. So it's the Talon Claw version 4 or Rev 4. We're not looking to try and like get this to the point where we deform the tube. We're just trying to use it as a set screw basically against the tube. And the suggested material for printed parts here is PLA and PETG. I actually went ahead and used ASA and ABS. So we've got our blue parts here, which are 3DO ASA CF blue, and then our gray parts here, which is 3DO carbon gray, and then our orange parts here, which actually look a lot more orange than it did on the other one. Actually, it still looks pretty red. This is the Polymaker ABS in neon orange. I figure, like a lot of dummy guns, orange is always good to have, so we're gonna use that. Now we need to take one of our small O-rings again, and it's gonna go in this gap. Be careful not to tear your O-ring up, but it's gonna go right down here in this gap, closest to the back piece here. So yeah, it does. It looks red, but it is a neon orange. That's what I said. My colors are off, and yeah, I'm gonna have to get somebody with better. I'm red green colorblind, by the way, so I need somebody that's gonna have to help me get my colors looking better. So we got that done. Now we need to line a bolt arm up to the slot on the side of the Ram F and screw through the holes into the Ram F until secure. Repeat for the opposite. This is where we're going to start using our bolted ends here, or metal ends here, and the holes are a different pattern on each side. We need to use this side up against the printed part here so the holes line. Get that lined up on one side. Use a couple more of our screws to get these started. Didn't check to see if these were interesting. So we're using countersunk screws, but the parts themselves aren't countersunk. Hey, Pez Liz, how's it going? Oh, yeah, I hope it's just a flu too. You've missed the conversation though, Pez Liz. I mean, we've been this is a good build. We've been working with our ramrod, and we've been putting our O-rings on our ramrod. And you know, I know from reading ahead in the instructions, we're going to lube some things today as well. We've got to lube our rings. So We've had good adult conversations. But yes, I hope you feel better soon, Liz. Yeah, you always miss the fun conversation. Exactly. Okay, so there we go. Got our metal arms on each side. And now we get to put that down and we're going to go play with something else. So we're going to grab, this is the plunger, and we're going to push a long hex standoff into the front of the plunger print. Okay. Long hex standoff. That fits in not very tightly, but we are, looks like we're going to be securing it with screws. Um, you may need to use a hammer to tap it into place until it bottoms out in the socket. Well, it feels like it's bottomed out in the socket now, and just pushing it down a bit feels like it is definitely down in that socket. Um, to add the optional air brake feature, put a drop of super glue onto the thread in the exposed end of the long hex standoff. Feed in a 440 screw through the rubber grommet and drive it into the end of the long hex standoff until the head of the screw is flush with the top of the rubber grommet. Rubber grommet. And I'm assuming that looks like the standard countersunk 440, right? Apollo? Yes. Lots of water. Oh, actually, but you also need some electrolytes too, Pez. We have a stuff here called Pedialyte. It's for young kids normally, but a lot of adults will use it as well, or Gatorade. Just be careful with Gatorade because a lot of them have a lot of sugar in them, where Pedialyte wouldn't. But Pedialyte's really good to add too, which will be your electrolytes. If you get warned. Yep. Let me grab my super glue. Wants me to put super glue in the threads on this, and then we'll screw in, wait, yeah, into the thread in the exposed end of the long hex standoff. Okay. Okay. Drop of super glue. One of our screws, our grommet. Screw this down in there. And the head of the screw is flush with the top of the rubber grommet. So we don't actually want to twist the grommet, do we? So we want to leave a little bit of the grommet available. Oh, wow, there you go. That's orange, believe it or not. Neon orange. So we got our grommet in there. Grommet's right there. And then we're going to take another screw and go in from the back. Go in through that hole there and make sure to go on the other side of the standoff. That's going to make sure that the standoff is locked and it's going to come out. Make sure it's centered and put a drop of glue on it. Okay. There we go. And we also need an O-ring around this part here. Like that. And we need to apply a little bit of our silicone oil onto both the grommet and this O-ring. Okay. Let me grab an absorbent towel in case I make a mess. And I'm assuming, like a lot of things, that a little bit goes a long way here. Partly because there's just a little bit here. You find your seal is weak, replace the oil with super lube. Okay. Lube it vigorously. Okay. Penetrating oil. Okay. And with it being a PTFE based oil, do you know what kind of PTFE oil it is? I'm just asking because this is what I normally use from a PTFE lubricant standpoint. Usually it's a super lube oil. Okay. And he said super glue or super lube, not yeah. I was going to use another brand name, but we'll keep that to ourselves. Okay. Um so we've spread some silicone oil onto the rubber grommet and O-ring. Now we need to burr the edges of the hex sockets in the front uh, there we go. Front muzzle piece. We need to deburr those sockets. They look pretty deburred to me. And we're going to be putting 3 shorter hex nuts in here. So 3 shorter hex nuts. What I did to myself there. You just use the green, yeah. Well, and that's what I normally, I've got Super Lube over there I normally do on my bearings. So. Yep, like an airsoft. Hey, Royal Nomi, how's it going? Find the grease seals better. Yeah, and I might have an issue. I might wind up having to take it off and redo it. So we're going to stick these in the hole, and you'll notice that where the nut goes in there, so we're going to put the nut in the hole, and then there's a screw hole right at the base. So the nut goes in a hole, and then we're going to put a screw there to hold the nut into position. And it's another one of our standard 440 screws. It's going to go in there. I say that, and then I'm like, not wanting to go in. And slide a hex stand off in each. Drop 3, blah, blah, blah. Wondering if I put that in and shouldn't have been. Should the backslide be flush or have a point sticking up? Kind of looks like it should be going in flush. Dig that out. Oh well. Okay. When I get to the step of lubing the tube, use the grease, quite a bit of it. Okay. So use a plenty of grease when I lube the tube. All right. You were told no screwing around. Well, we're screwing round things right now. We're trying to. In this particular case, the round thing I'm trying to screw is, I don't know, be one of those times where I kind of wish I had a self-tapping screw instead of a flat screw. The screw head will stick out a bit. Yeah, well, right now I'm just trying to get the screw head to start. Dang it. All right. See me get upset here in a second. Ah. Yeah, the holes are tight, that's for sure. I would definitely, there's a part of me that's like, should I try and at least start a thread? But I don't have a 440 tap with me downstairs, so. And since this is obviously a mating surface here. You want to make sure that the screws are beneath this surface plane, right? So this needs to be fully down in there so that you get a good joint at whatever we're putting there. And these will kind of rock into their positions. And when I say these, I mean the nuts that you're putting in place will slip in position in the correct orientation. And then it's just a matter of starting these screws. Set it on the table might help. Yeah. Center punching it. Thinking about just like 5-finger death punching it. How about that? Better tight than loose. That is true. It is really good that they are tight and not loose. And once again, these screws are basically just retention screws. They're holding these X nuts that we just put in. They're keeping them lined up with that hole there and keeping them from falling back out when we're doing things. So the nuts come later, exactly. Okay, so we've got that done. And then on the front part here, we've got a part that will, got a part here with this little knurling on the edge. And this is just going to screw onto the front there. Haven't tested this fit yet, but hey, look, it screws nicely. Sure, that's on there nice and good. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. So another small sum assembly. Yay! Now we need our grips. So we've got our 2 grips. We're going to grab one of the grips, and right up here at the front, we want to drive in a 440 screw until it bottoms out. So this one all the way through. I have a feeling this is going to be like an alignment fixture, basically, or an aligning feature. There we go. Everybody keeps saying the SBL. What does the SBL stand for? What is the acronym? Steve just built one. Okay. You like the looks of the links? Yeah. So we bottom this out in the hole there, which has a little bit of a stick out. Grip right front. We're indicated until it bottoms out. Repeat for the left. Okay, so one there, one on the other side, and it's the hole all the way there on the shorter or narrower side. There we go. Mammoth but long. Okay. You like them small, easier to handle? Oh, zombie. Zombie, zombie, zombie. So we've got these two. We're going to need our trigger mechanism. Line the hole in the trigger print with the through hole and grip B Force a short pin through both until centered. Okay, that would be this piece here. I don't know if you guys can tell, but you can see how the top surface here kind of seems pretty rough. I don't know if it matters on that infill there. If I should file that down a little bit just to make it a little nicer. And no, this was not printed with a zombie tuned profile, so smooth is good. Yeah. Okay, so this piece is going to go on the inside. The hole should line up. Yes. And we're going to drive a pin. I'm assuming we're talking this little sucker through part A, through part B, into part C so that it wiggles and jiggles. You guys are unbelievable. Exactly. No, we're just having fun with, the names of printed parts. So that part is there done now. Now we're going to take and place the one grip. This. So the flat side is facing up. Place a plastic spacer into the center hole of the sear print. Something. Line up the hole in the trigger print with the through hole and grip B. Force the short hole through. Okay. Place a plastic spacer in the center hole of the sear print. Sandwich the sear, girdle, and grip B prints between the grip right and left. Placing the screws you drove into the grip left and right prints into the center hole of the plastic spacer. Grip B should fit the slots in the grip left and grip right print. So here's an issue is it did not talk about this operation right here. This this leftmost operation, which is take your trigger and you're going to slide it down into that gap. So we've got the ears on the trigger. That slides down in the gap. So that you have your trigger there. That should slide all the way down so that you have your profile. Okay, so we have that. Now we need our sear pen, which goes only in one direction. We're going to have a piece of tubing. That's going to go through the center hole of the sear pen and over the screw that we had put in place. There we go. Make sure you get it all the way down in there. Get your sear pen in there. We need our grip. So this is the, I'll say the back part or the, what we call that, the beaver tail, the dovetail, whatever. This is going to slide in there. So grip slides on. Our Pin just fell out. That was awesome. That lined up and get the pin back in there. And top goes on. Things are lining up. We squish things together. Slight interference issue. Interesting. It looks like the trigger probably needs to go in last. Yes, I'm being a little ham-fisted here because I'm trying to, there we go. I've got some pretty good tolerance fit here on the parts. There we go. So pushing it down, I think there's a little bit of an undercut there maybe. Or so it felt like. Trigger should fall down in that. Yep. So trigger, steer pin. Those will get connected here in a little bit. And our two sides. Pill robot is summoning you. Okay. Yeah, I haven't even gotten to the butt plate yet. The butt plate, the butt stock. So now that we have that done, we're going to drive some 4040 screws in, and the two up here are going to go on either side of our trigger pin, and it's going to keep that in there and keep that trigger pin from falling out. So and I'm sure it'll probably go a long way to centering our trigger in the mechanism as well. Trigger's still working good. Okay, and on the handle, we're going to go in the lower hole here. Lower hole. You don't make trouble, you finish it. Ah! Yeah, like your bolt pistol models, you could probably make those a lot more complex for you. All right, so I'm trying to get these pretty tight without stripping them. Okay, and this is going to be our, what do we call this? Our T-guard. Let me just get off a rough edge here or there. Okay, so our T-guard is going to go in like this, right at the bottom, and it's going to protect it's our trigger guard. We need to make sure that the whole line's up. So you're about to hear me start using inappropriate language there if that didn't start going in there. And once again, we're just going to tighten these down, squish things together. Make different parts into one part. But remember that you're using screws into plastic, so no need to make it too. You don't want to strip the plastic is where I'm going to go there. Okay, so now we need to tie a knot in the free end of the elastic cord. So our elastic cord, we want to tie a knot in the free end. Okay, and should we burn the bottom of this? Or I don't know why I have such a hard time. So we should probably melt the bottom of this. Yeah, nasty. Make sure you save some of that. Okay. Make sure you save some. You mean like the other end like that? That's crappy. Just try and singe that and use that as a leader. Okay. So we tied a knot and fish the cord and fish the opposite free end through the hole in the sear trigger and girdle press. Okay, so we're going to come from the top down and we're going through these holes. So we're going to try and get them lined up. Push down through there. I have it through those two. How does this come down through the bottom? Huh. Through here, through there, and then down through a bottom hole that is going to be quite interesting to get through. Yeah, the foul language will start now, probably. As I try and feed this into a hole. Now, why won't we feed this up through the bottom, number one? Number two, it would have been nice if it had said, hey, before you assemble this, make sure that your holes are free and clear. And because there's kind of like, apparently I put support there and didn't realize it. Try and pull that support tube out. Preferably without stabbing myself in the process. And then I have a thought. Oh crap, I may have a thought. What did I do with it? Here it is. Spring steel. So if I take some spring steel and run it up from the bottom, bring it up through my, I want to go up through the trigger, not completely miss the trigger hole. Down maybe. Yeah. Now we've got a spring wire through there. Take this end, put it through the sear pin. Take the other end and maybe fish it or tape it to our spring steel wire and pull it down. Probably going to be too big to get down through the hole now. Yep. And where's it? That's what she said comment. Thought I was going to be clever. But I get it. That hole is pretty tight. Yep, the hole is pretty tight. That is a pretty tight hole. Pretty tight hole. It's at a weird angle. But I do wonder what would happen if I take this and wrap it around the spring steel a little bit and then hit it with the lighters. That will help melt it together at least a little bit to help me guide it through. And that would be a no. Ah, okay. The other type of tape. Not too bad if you do. The end is singed. Once you get the tip in, it slides in pretty easy. This stream's going to hell. Dang it. Yep. We're just going to have to try and force the end. Just going to have to try and force the end. Um, when you singe it, it seems like it frays out. What kind of, I mean, obviously elastic, but do we know what kind of material this elastic is? Like, should I be breathing the fumes that I am singeing? Oh, there we go. The singe worked. So we've got our top knot. We're going to pull that down. And what does it say to do? The elastic cord will poke out the bottom of the girdle or the griddle print, pull it taut, then tie a knot as close to the griddle print as you can manage. Use scissors to trim off the extra. So pull it taut and it's nylon elastic paracord. All right, that's what I was hoping because I mean, I've got a ton of paracord. If need be, I could always replace paracord. No. And I guess the tighter you get that, um, the tighter your trigger pull is going to be. And part of me that just wants to double knot this just so it doesn't get pulled through that hole. Yeah, I probably should have double knotted the top, but we'll see. And then it says to trim off the excess. So I'm going to leave just a smidge. So there's our excess. And we'll hit that with the lighter again. Okay. That's doing good. Now we need the T release. So we're going to take that away. We need this piece, our mag lower, and T release, which is a lot bigger than it looks in there. And we've got some printed parts where it will come in here and be screwed in place. We have some holes where it'll be pulled in here and screwed into place. Yeah. So we're going to play this game again. First thing I got to do is get through the outer cover anyway, so we're going to get that started on both sides. Sorry. I got to get used to this new camera angle. Okay, so I'm just getting the screw started here. Then we'll take the trigger piece and you'll see that we've got a hole right there in that spot. So this is going to come up and get lined up in this inner gap here. And screw this in. We should feel the difference in the hole. Need to insert a pin? Okay. Well, that makes sense. It didn't say, oh, it did say insert a pin, didn't it? That makes even more sense. It does go in. Oh, there we go. Pin's now in. Get the screw started on the back side again. rephrase that. I think, yes, the pin is in because it's now captive, so that's good. Thank you for that, Apollo. I was going to miss that. Finishing your rook in the next few nights? Good. Did you get all the wire and stuff that you need? Yeah, and I did miss the force a short pin through all three until roughly centered, then drive in these nuts, these 440 screws from each side to retain the pin, thus making this captive. And we're going to use what? Loop some elastic around the front of the release print, then up over the larger hook on the back of the mag lower print, pull taut, then tie a square knot to complete the elastic loop, trim off the excess. Okay, so we've got more of our elastic, and we've got this center pin right here that we're going to be looping around. And we're going to loop around the back side of this as well. Now, there are these two little like teeth here. So we want to go over that and then under these two. Around that, make it tight, and then do a square nut. Okay, Bexy, get some rest. And once again, as Apollo said, save as much of that as possible. So we're going to do our square nut, or our square knot. And do we want to pull this taunt, right? Pull taunt and tie a square knot. That's going to work. Pull taunt and tie a square knot. This is me trying to pull taunt and tie a knot and a big ass rubber band. Trying to keep as much material as possible and then giving in. Dude, there's like really no place to tie this that isn't going to be a pain in the ass. So you don't have to go behind those little forks, or do you need to go behind those little forks? Come on, damn you. Ah. Okay. So where do we want this knot positioned at on this? You don't need to have that much. I don't need this much extra. So I was fighting this for the hell of it. Okay. And by the way, were you saying I needed the collapsible buttstock? Cram the knot to either side of the hook. Okay. So rotate this around. Actually, I want to. Okay. There we go. We've got our knot. Whoops. Got our knot, and our knot is kind of right here between these two hook. Okay. So yes. There we go. Yeah, so you basically have to tie the knot somewhere in this area and then just kind of work it around until it falls in that gap. So now, another piece done. We'll need yeah, gotcha. Okay, so we're gonna need some more of our rods over here. Spring wire away. We need a couple more of our rods. And we are going into this piece. Slide a BS print over a bolt arm piece as shown. Then slide the bolt arm onto the slot in the front of the mag upper print. And this is our mag upper print. And we're going to need which one of these? Larger piece? Ah, yes, there we go. So on this time, you've got the two holes and then the two longer holes. For the larger space holes, we're going to go with this one in first. And then we're going to come in, we've got this side and this side. We're going to come in this side. And one hole is going to line up here. One hole is going to line up here. And we're going to have a hole right through here at an angle. We're going to go through this hole here at the angle and join these two pieces together. Come on. And you want it tight, but you don't want to strip it. And then we're going to have another screw that comes in from the top right here that's going to hold this bar and this piece together. Now like this. Now we finally get to start mating some things together. So we've got slots here. That's where these are going to slide into. Go right through like that. And let's see, slide the ram rod assembly in through the back of the upper mag assembly. And right about here, we've got that O-ring there, so it's going to start getting a little bit tighter. I'm going to push that through. And now we're looking like this. We need to slide the Doom 4 print onto the pair of bolt arms from the ramrod assembly. Slide the next BS print on the top. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we need our Doom print. This is the front part of our barrel, basically. This will slide on and line up on the holes. And we're going to use bigger bolts. Ones. They all the same, Apollo? Looks like they are. This is going in to the print. Slide hex nut into the angled slot as shown. Oh, okay. Gotcha. So we're going to take a hex nut, and right here we've got these slots, and they're going to kind of angle it forward. So stick your hex nut in there. Maybe work it all the way down in there. And that's going to line up on that hole right there. Then you're going to take your little screw, your other nut, and we're going to screw that together. Screwdriver. Okay, there's one. Do the front one and slide it down in there. Backside, once again, we've got our slots. Drop our nut in there. Going to line up with the front up here. Screw started. nut, bolt. Okay. We've now got our front foregrip here bolted on. We need the remainder of our pieces here. Oh, here we go. So this one, looking at our picture, the hole goes back here. Then the other one, our angled piece, goes towards the front. And that would be our slide or our front, our top mount so far. Everything looking right so far, Apulo? I mean, it's matching with the it's matching the diagram so far. Now I need to slide the barrel through the middle of the doom print and into the socket in the front of the mag upper print until it bottoms out. Our barrel is the metal tube. That's going to go through the center of our doom print. So it's going to come right down this channel. And it's going to go right over the ramrod. And we need to make sure that it gets lined up in that print. So, whoops. Comes down over the ramrod. We get it down in the print. And it gets pushed all the way back. Does it go all the way back? Slide the barrel through the middle of the doom print and then into the socket in the front of the mag upper print until it bottoms out. Slide the bottom bolt arm pair through the doom print. Okay, from the looks of this, does this get pushed all the way down through the ramrod? Or just around the first, well, I guess until it bottoms out, and right there it's bottomed out in the print. Okay, let's see if I can get this up here and you can see, whoops, you can see the print. It bottoms out in the print right there. That's as far as I can go without busting the print. So there we go. So that part's that way. Now we're going to take two more of our rods. Once again, with the longer spaced holes between these two parts here. And it's going to go down in the sides there. And these are a little free at the point. You know, they're not held in there. They're sliding back and forth. Put a hex nut into the slot inside the Muzz print. And drive a 10/32 screw into it from the hole in the underside of the print. We're going to set this down. And we're going back to the Muzz print, right? And it's telling us to put a nut right there. So grab one of our hex nuts. And drop it down in there. I'm going to put my finger there. And through the bottom, we're going to put a 10/32 screw into it. And I believe this is going to be used to, yeah, it's going to be a set screw on the muzzle. So I'm just getting it started, and I have my finger there holding the nut in, so I can just feel it touch my finger, so I know that the threads are started. Um, this is going to slide on our barrel, slide forward, and we're going to get this lined up in the front slot here. And it shows going all the way on. Where did I catch on? Oh, damn. I put this on backwards. The raked area needs to be facing back. So we get to take a few things apart real fast. Nothing big. We're just going to take 4 side bolts out, turn it around, and we should be good. No, that can't go that way. That's right. What am I missing here? What am I missing? Rake's right. So if this goes on with the muzzle brake, comes forward, slides in there. Okay, there it is. I don't know. I must have hung up on something. No, I put this part, I put the muzzle brake on backwards is what I did. Okay. So now this lines up and I have a spot to put a screw in from the top right there. I'm going to put the screw in from the top and screw that down into the print. Okay, so that's now tightened. Now it tells us to tighten the screw in the hole at the bottom to clamp the barrel in place. So this screw is basically a set screw against the barrel. So we're going to set that. Okay. I'm going to turn this around and we're going to make sure that these line up in the slots in the rear. And we're going to add more of our 440 screws to hold the side rail in. Yeah, okay. One, two. Just the front one? Yeah. Yes, it is just the front one. These days I'll stop assuming things. Okay. Only shows it going in the front one. All right. Now, rear side, we install our front mag. Now, it's got to go down and then forward. So this piece here, this piece has to go down in this center groove and then move forward for it to fit. So we've got to line that up, push that down in there, and then move things forward. And this is going to be a tight fit on these. You know that tight fit earlier when I first did it. There we go. Oh, nope, thought it was going in there. Get in there. One in and there we go. There we go. As you can see, everything sealed up nicely here. Everything lines up. Gone over our O-rings. Everything back here is captured well. And now we're going to do 2 screws in from the side and another from the top. There's a few things to line up. One is the printed part is kind of tight and you kind of want it to be tight as it slides forward, but you also need to make sure that these bars are getting in the second half of the groove there. And we need 10/32. So these thicker screws going through the end here. How do I feel like they're supposed to be? Slide the mag lower assembly in the back of the mag. Slide the 3 bolt arms into the slots in the back of the motor. Blah, blah, blah. I guess I'm a bit confused. There's no we didn't put any hex bolts or anything. No hex bolts told to go in here. 10/32. So the 10/32 holes, they're not gripping onto any. Now, I will say that all my 10/32 screws seem to have like this little lock washer, and I don't know if that's causing problems getting things to seat down or bear into plastic or something, but I don't know. I guess let me just keep trying to press and do it harder, but there's nothing. This isn't biting into any. Bars before screw. Put the bars in first, my dude. Okay, so oh, I'm like looking I thought the first hole was going into this bar. It's not. That makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. Geez, thanks. See ya, Pulo. That's what I get. Read the instructions. order of operations. There we go. When you put the proper bars in the right place, there we go. That bar goes into screws. We flip it over. We're going to grab another bar, slide it through the back slot, and believe it or not, now there's something for the screws to bite into. I say that, and then it doesn't. Dang it. Here we go. So it was true. I mean, there wasn't anything for it to go into. Yeah, look at the diagram. I was looking at the diagram. Yeah. So this one, same thing. Your longer opening is at the back. We're going to line this up and slide this into the gap. Seriously. My understanding, or what I'm seeing, is this should go underneath the other one. I'm wondering. Need to ease up on that a bit. There we go. Yep. So ease up on this one. So that let this metal rod raise up some. Now we're able to get this in there and line up. So now we're going through both rods with this top 1032. Now I'll come back in here and tighten this back down. So there we go. Now we've got this tube thing. And on our tube thing, get my screws and stuff up on here. Again, hard surfaces are nice, but things bounce on hard surfaces. So having just a piece of a paper towel or something on here keeps things hopefully from bouncing all over the place. Okay, so there's what we got so far. And we have this tube. This tube says apply some silicone oil to the inside of the plunger tube near both ends, and then slide it onto the back of the magwell assembly, onto the back of the ramrod assembly. So this is where you're telling me to forego the light oil and put some actual PTFE grease on here. Yeah, squeeze just a little bit and use the edge of the tube to scrape it inside the tube. Do that in 5 or 6 spots on both ends of the tube. I don't want to take the grease and just work it all the way. Whoop, I don't want to take the grease and just work it all the way around the tip of the tube. Is Liz still with us? You want a decent amount. Okay, it's easier to scrape it in. Well, the problem is I've got one of the adapters on here to do whatchamacallit, to do my bearings. And I've got to be careful because I popped a leak at the back end of this. Ooh, Mr. Fancy Pants. Yep, so a little dab will do you. And I'm just going to take it. Do a light coating. Whoops, like, darn it. Light coating like that. No, heavy. I want it heavier than that. Okay, I mean, I can go heavy. All righty. You guys heard him. He said, goop it up. Not gloop. Gloop would do bad things. It would kind of back things up, but we're gonna get a good deal of lubricant on here. Kind of like somebody playing with a jar of Vaseline. And all right, so whoop, darn it. Good enough? That looks good. Awesome. Put that back on there. Take this and so now we're going to take this, we're going to slide it through the tube and over the back of our plunger assembly or ramrod assembly, whatever we call the damn assembly, to the back of the ramrod assembly. Okay. Just like that. That is popped in there. Nice and tight. Now we're going to slide the grip assembly onto the pair of lower bolt slides. So getting it lined up there. Get it lined up and come on, dang you. Now you slide on there because we did it before. Keep going. You can do it. All right. So I'm just feeding my lower grip onto my rods, or not my rods, my slab sides. Maybe I should have. Look at your DM on Discord real fast. Okay. Let me do that real fast before I do something and make it. Dang, are you saying I need even more grease on there? Or is that just your 4 dabs and then you ran your finger around? I mean, because that's maybe see how it goes. I mean, I can always take it off now, and because that's what that looks like after running it in there. And then you stick the plunger in and rotate it on both ends, then shove it on there. We'll add some more. It's all good. The instructions are saying use some of the light silicone oil, and Apollo is over here saying use half a tube of super lube. Like, I'll get some of that. That looks like 1 dab that he put on the one side. We're just going to add that to the side. Help seal the old rings. Yep. So he had like 4 gobs like that in on it. There we go. That's all she's getting. If she ain't sealed up after that, then we've got some issues. Evil Diesel came in right when I was breaking out the lube again. Oh no, it's Evil Diesel. Run! Yep. Yep, now we're ready to party. Now's where we needed Bexy Beans to see that. Now we needed Bexy Beans to see that when we broke out all of the lubricant. Okay, so that slid on very nice and easy. We've got the back here. It doesn't say how far to go. I mean, it shows it being a little bit farther than what I've got it right now. I don't think it's going to matter. It's just on the bolt arms. Slide the plunger assembly into the back of the plunger tube. And it gets shoved all the way to the front based on that lower picture. Yeah. So just continue to work this all the way forward is what you're saying. Oh, there we go. I have a bruise on my inner thigh from the front of the barrel jabbed up against me as I was trying to get that moved. Okay, so there we go. We've got our Nerf blaster. Whoops, darn it. Going well there. Now we need to take our plunger assembly with our air brake, and it goes in that tube, and it looks like we push it all the way forward. So I'm going to pull the trigger on this just to pull this steer down out of the way so I can get this lined up there. And remember, we've already put a little bit of the light PTF oil on this. Just going to pick up the rest of that grease that we had there. And I don't know how we're going to push that all the way forward. Good enough. I have a feeling we're going to put a spring or something. Slide rail 1 and rail 2 prints into the upper bolt arm. So now we need the rest of our rail. We're going to use this one that has the little cutout in it. That one goes first. And then other one with the, I'll say the straightened off end goes towards the back. Waiting to do that. Okay, so we've got that on there. And now add a hex nut to the inside socket of the Curie print. Curie print. We need to add a hex nut in the top of here. I thought it was going to go in and drop, but it just slides in. Right, so there's just a slide in for it. Slides in there. And we've got to line up our rods in 3 different places. May need to be deburred on the end. Well, I've already sanded those some. Now it's just a matter of getting 3 arms lined up. Print. Oh, there we go. That slid out. Okay, and yeah, this keeps going forward, doesn't it? This bottoms out. Steer pin moves to the side. That'll bottom out. You'll now have a bolt hole on each side that lines up and the bolt hole at the top that lines up. So I'm going to assume the next step is to put some M3, or excuse me, an M3, 1032 screw in from the top. God, can you tell I've done a lot of 3D printing and all of these standard size measurements are throwing me off? Apparently you got to use gravity to your advantage because otherwise your nut will just slide right back out and you won't have a nut to screw into. There's the 1032nd. And then we're going to come in and do the 440 on each side, which is the countersunk screws. So Evil Diesel, when are you going to print and build one of these? Yeah, it's funny. It's like it's stuck, it's stuck, it's stuck, and then all of a sudden it goes boom right on through. All right, that feels like it's not grabbing into something, or it is already grabbed into something. It from both sides, or oh wait, line up the hole in the hex nut. Blah blah blah. We did the top. You can optionally add a hex standoff into the slot in the underside of the carry print so it lines up with the hole in the side. Oh, geez. So that would be why it like literally didn't go into anything, because it literally didn't go into anything. Ah, that's why we have tweezers. We're just going to push that back out of the hole. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our other two hex nuts, and they're just going to slide down this gap here. So hex nut, slide down that gap, and it will line up with this hole on the side. Put in your 440, and that will now go into the hex nut. And there are also screws down here to hold the 440 in place. I think we really needed it. You know, what the hell. Let's add the weight. Will you stop going through hell? Yeah, that kind of sounds like never. How you doing, sis? Sorry, I I'm not used to having the camera up here, so I keep doing things off camera apparently. So we're going to slide that down in there. We're going to take one of our 440s, and it's going to go basically vertical down into that shaft, and or down into that, and it's going to hold that short hex nut in place. In other countries, the screws are metric. Gotcha. Okay. Then we're just going to roll it to the side, and we now have that hex nut locked in place. And we'll screw that down in there. Just like that. Okay. Now we need to add the mainspring of your choice. So we've got two springs here. Apollo, talk to me. Exactly. Which one of these is the higher spring rate? Shorter, thicker one. This is the higher spring rate. Oh yeah, I guess if we That one kind of not so much. This one kind of a lot more. So we're going to use this one because when we do this, we're going to send it. So add the mainspring of your choice, then slide the butt print in. So we're going to put this in there, and that'll push our thingamabobber down. We need our, we call this the butt print onto the bolt arm. Line up the holes in all of them and then touch them up with a 3/16 drill bit. Oh, so you're saying these need to be touched up with a 3/16 drill bit? You have the option of so DC goes on the outside. Maybe see how the pins fit. Okay. So that pops on pretty nicely. And we have pens. I'm assuming we're talking these pens. So that pen goes straight through without a problem. So no need to touch anything up. Oh, so you have the option of securing the butt print with 2 takedown pins or 2 long screws given through the hex nut added to the slots in the back. Okay. Yeah, this isn't snug. So I would need to get some, oh, whatchamacallit. What are those damn collet clips or whatever? Oh, the one from the back and one from the top, or one across the back and one from the top. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. So we've got the 2 clips there, or the 2 pens in. To add the optional collapsible stock, slide the washer print into the slot in the latch. Washer print, latch. That goes in there. Look like that. Line up the holes in the washer print with the holes in the back of the butt print. Drive 440 or drive a 440 screw in through each hole. Fish some elastic cord in through the hole. Okay, so I'll have to do that. Cotter pins, there we go. You'd use the screws. It's not like you're going to need exactly. That's the other thing I was thinking too. Is I'm probably not going to change this. So pull the pins out. There are spots. There are slots in here that we can slide a nut onto, and then 1032 from the side. We need... Right, that's still not feeling like it's going in there. I need longer screws if I go with screws. Oh, use these ones to go through. Okay, so it goes through from one side and it goes through both. Gotcha, 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 gotcha. Uh-huh. Keep it up, Diesel. Keep it up. I'm gonna have to field test this. So you there with the screw through it. This one goes down in the middle. We're gonna run another long ass screw through it. Okay, so bolt, and like you said, I'm not planning on um, using or removing that because I've got the stock. We are going to put this on, so this is going to line up there, and we're going to take our 440s through here and into the back. Get that lined up. Seriously. Okay. Need to give a little oofda to get it get started. And now to make a Gatling gun version, yeah. Okay, I guess that is in there. It just didn't feel like it was all the way in there, but I guess that's made to be able to slide up and down. Corner piece still has a bit of play in it. Okay, so there we are. Fish some elastic cord in through the hole at the top of the latch, out the middle of it. Then fish, okay. So there's holes on each of the tops. So we're going to go in through one. And then push the free end. I am so confused. Was I supposed to do that part before, like, putting it together? Yes, I don't know. All right, so we're going to take one end of the remaining string that we have. We're going to go through one of the side holes here. And then am I going down and under the back? Oh, there we go. That. Oh, okay. So it's going through the top of this gray piece, but out the bottom of the orange piece. Yeah, that's not confusing at all. Or much of a pain in the ass. You DM'd me some missing instructions. That's good. Yes. Let me see if down through there. We're going down through the top of this print. And then we need to bring it down and get our tip pushed back and going down through. All right, Apulu. Who came up with this routing? Because there is no easy way to say this, but it's like if I could just get the tip started, I'm sure I could get the cord through. Easier to pull a few inches through and then stick it through the hole. Okay. You say so. That would probably work better with if I had some better lighting going, but all right, there, maybe. Oh, damn it. I had it. There we go. Now it wants me to go the other way? Seriously? Whoever thought this mechanism up, I'm sure it works well, but kind of remind me of somebody that's a little bit, how can we put this? Sadistic? This would probably remind Evil Diesel of doing the mechanism wheels. Okay. So we've got our cord routed. That was a pain in the butt too. You were just typing sadistic. Exactly. Exactly. Just the tip. Yep. Okay, feed the free end back up the hole in the upper side of the butt print, then with the hole, then into the hole inside the latch, blah, blah, blah. Take both ends, pull them taut, and tie a square knot. And this is all I need, right? So I don't need to be like super crazy about trying to be all safe with the length I have here. Awesome. Trying to do this on camera. Okay, so now we will cut our exit. put a second in there just for the hell of it. And then we'll cut off the excess on each side. Then with a lighter, not too worried about the print because once again, it's all ABS and ASA. Okay. Cool beans. Now what? Oh, the parts that you said I forgot that aren't in here. So we need to place the floor tie over this. Okay. So we're coming here to the front. We got to make things pretty up here. So we've got our last piece. Flat edge goes against the flat edge here. And we're going to have some, whatchamacallit, 40/40s that come in from the front edge here. 1, 2, 3. So I'll have to drop those down in there and get these started. Alexa, put lights in the studio to maximum. I'm like, why is it dark in here all of a sudden? God, I have my studio lights set to, I guess, follow the sun. So they were kind of going dark because it's sunset here. Hang up, you little booger. Get in the right spot. Trying to cut threads is what I'm trying to do here, and this requires a good deal of pressure sometimes to get those threads start to cut. So sorry I'm doing that somewhat off screen. Okay. So you should be able to see the 3 screws, one on each side, one down in the front center well there. It's used to mount this to the front. Now there are some side pieces here. These are decorative pieces. You can see they've got a hole on one side, and the other side has like a printed divot area there. That one's going to go over the other hole. Then we're going to need 10/32 that go in here. This is more of a little decorative notch thing. One that goes on each side. Okay. Here's our plunger mechanism, our slide cocking mechanism. That's working good. You can see how that grease is getting all distributed in there, keeping everything nice and easy, nice and clean. Okay. Now what? We have this decorative piece that goes on the front and goes on there like that. And we'll have some screws that come in on each side. The 440s and go right into the plastic on either side. Give it the beans. Yep. All right, Diesel. Tell Link I said hello and I haven't forgotten him. Hopefully he still remembers my scent if it's needed in the future. Prime it. So we're fully primed. Right, plunger there, nothing visible, no spring there. You say put my thumb over the end of the barrel and fire it. So I would say that was pretty good. Not sure if you saw that, so I'll prime it again. Okay, we're primed. No spring visible in the barrel. Take the thumb, put it over the barrel, and watch the tube when I pull the trigger. All right, you see the plunger came out, but it stopped the spring, moving very slightly. That's because I'm holding the air here. So when I move my thumb, moves it forward. That tells us we have a good seal there, or good enough at this particular point in time. So we've got all of our pretty bits on. The next thing it talks about is adding a buttstock. So let's take a look at a couple of things here. One is that there. So I did buy this. This is the worker buttstock. This is a collapsible buttstock. I've got a retaining screw here. I'm assuming I'm going to need to take this retaining screw out to put it through. Good God. I'm going to strip that screw out. Oh, I got it. Good. Take the mount off. So this front piece needs to come off. Oh, one piece and this piece. So we don't use this piece. And we're just going to use this piece. And we're going to lift this up so that it lines up here. And this becomes the detent point. So there's one. Second. Third. There should be one more, which would be all the way closed, right? So there's your buttstock. Come on now. Oh, I even have a red dot I can throw on this. So the other piece is our front piece. This is a, was it the scar? They're right up with where, who gets this reference? Exactly. So if I remember right, this goes on, then an O-ring goes on, and I did buy the extra O-ring. By the way, all of these should be extra parts, so it's good that they give us some extra parts from spares so stuff breaks. Or if we're taking things apart, maybe in the field, and we lose a pin, there's extra pins, there's some extra O-rings, there's a big O-ring and a small O-ring. So that went with the buttstock. So I'm assuming I can put the retaining pin in for the retaining screw in on the buttstock again. Just maybe not with the Ugga Duggas from hell. Okay. So what we've done here is we've put in our the first piece that's going to screw on here, and I think actually our O-ring here goes around the top edge. And what we're going to do that, you know, this isn't a silencer or anything like that. This is actually a rifled tip. Yeah. Get that one going. This is a rifled tip that will, because of the rifling, will enable us to have a dart that flies better and straighter. Which means I can hit those pesky little shits across the street that keep shooting their darts all over my yard. I kind of get them back by just running them over with the riding lawnmower, but so we put an O-ring on. By the way, this is a different size O-ring than what comes in the kit, because why would we not use anything? This is going to slide all the way onto your barrel as far as it'll go. And then you'll bring this end up and screw it in. Using that O-ring to, yeah, there you go. Stringed, centering, and rifling. And so I don't know, I'm not going to get a good picture here, but there is a little bit of rifling here. It's like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 threads. Otherwise, it's a smooth bore here. And there you go. We are built. Let me put a couple of things away. Put this part back in the buttstock box. We'll put the remainder of the Talon claw parts back in there. Can I show you how to do that by any chance? Do what, Tugboat? I'm building a extruder and didn't show how to depin the wires to go into the extruders. Okay, give me 1 second here. So you're talking about how to depin the motor wires on the extruder, Tugboat? Oh, I got you. You're talking about the hot end wires that come up and need to go through that tiny little slit in the motor mount. Gotcha. So those are JST pins. The one is I think a standard size JST. The other is a lot smaller size JST, right? So what we're gonna do? Let me figure out what I'm doing here. Sorry for the sidebar, folks. come over here. Is this one. Okay. So this is just a JST motor, and you've got your pins in the connector. There's a metal tab on the pin, right? What I'm doing is I'm taking a sharp pointy object. I tend to use my tweezers, and I'm going to push it in the gap, and you just need to kind of push down and under the plastic, and that will allow you to start pulling that pin out, and it comes out. Now, once again, there's a tiny tab on the back of that, so take your thing again, scrape it across the top, and hopefully you're going to catch that tab, and you just have to try and work it back up, because that is the locking tab right there. All right, come on. Let me see. I don't know if you can see, there's a little locking tab that's coming up right there. Now, here's the thing. Quite honestly, if you're going to solder your wires to extend them, then just cut the thing off. Just cut it off. Now, what I did on mine was I pulled them through, and then I cut right at the end of the metal tab, and then used our solder heat shrink connectors to get things connected up. Now, you'll only be able to pull those out and insert them once or twice before those tabs fatigue and break. That's how you do it. And quite honestly, if you're going to be doing those anyhow, I would just extend them. And also on the thermistor of that insulation on the wire, it's not like a standard wire where it's embedded. You can pull that completely off. So if you want, before you mounted it, or if you've already mounted it, don't worry about it. Take those one at a time and pull them completely off. Cut the connector, pull that tubing completely off, cut 2 or 3 millimeters off, slide the tubing back on. You've now got your stripped wire on your thermistor. The one that looks like clear silicone. There's no polarity on a thermistor or the heater. Zero polarity. So you're good either way. Okay. So we're going to come over here, and once again, this is our foam dart flinger. Once again, a foam dart flinger. What we are going to be running through our foam dart flinger are the half-size Nerf darts. Okay, these are the half-size Nerf darts. Red dart, orange tip. And this is our 3D printed foam dart flinger. Okay. Pump action. So to fire, you've got to pump it. It says not to dry fire, so I'm not going to do that anymore. We've got a tube back here with a heavier spring in it. So there's 2 springs that come. One's lighter, one's heavier. I've got the heavier one. And this plunger mechanism has an O-ring around it, and we use super lube. It's said to use just PTFE oil was provided, and our good friend Apulo, who's been helping us through the build, because he's got several of these, had us actually use the super lube grease that we use for a lot of our bearings and linear carriages. So all in all, this was pretty fun. The couple of spots where I had an issue was me not reading the directions. Once again, I think we came out really well. We've got, um, we used, we used 3DO, ASA, CF Blue. We used 3DO, Carbon Gray. And then our accessory parts are all ABS, Polymaker ABS Neon Orange. So uh, if you're in a, you got any weapons training, then it's a bright color. So either a neon orange, bright orange, or a blue. Complete blue signifies a rubber weapon for training. So here you go. This is our setup. This is a purchased collapsible folding stock, or collapsible stock, not folding. But yeah, this is a pretty nice build. I did pick up, let me clean up a little bit real fast. I did pick up a couple of magazines. So your initial hardware kit just comes with the stuff to get here. Doesn't come with magazines, and it doesn't come with foam darts. So if you're going to need those things, go ahead and order them, because the last thing you want to do is get your new toy put together and then not be able to play with it because you did not get your magazines and soft tip foam darts. So in this case, this is a slight curve to the magazine. Very slight curve, right? This is a worker magazine. Your darts go in only one way. It's a very light spring, by the way. But you're push down, load dart, push down, load dart. These are single stacks. So it's not like a zigzag double stack pattern. Dart zone darts at target. Okay, I will keep that in mind. I'm assuming that these use the same, we'll say the same darts as anywhere. So anywhere where you can go get soft foam darts, you will be able to find these in both sizes, because there are two sizes. This is the half size. There's a half size and a full size selection. And I want to say this was like a 30 dart magazine. Nope, 20. So there's your 20 dart. This is your mag release, right? So forward to release. So there we go. Got our soft foam dart. And I have heard, and even though my door is way down there, I am not going to shoot this inside, because they have said that, and I have heard people say that they have actually put holes or at least indentations in their drywall. So yeah, the worker, it's slightly curved. Like I said, it's got a slight curve to it. These are 20 round soft foam dart mags. I did pick up 2 of them because I figured, I mean, me and Evil Diesel, we were in the Air Force, so Steve has many holes in his garage door. Exactly. And this is an interior door, so I know it's not a rigid insulated door. And the last thing I want to do is put a hole in the door, because my wife will kill me if that were to happen. But yeah, there will be some fun with these to be had. And like I said, this was the entirety of the plan for the stream tonight, and it's a little bit after 9, so we made good time. And like I said, I did go with the heavier spring, just because. There's two different types of springs. If you use the heavier one and you decide that you don't like the pull on it, or the for racking in a new uh, uh, dart. I'm trying to think of terms and not use terms that I'm used to using in other forums. But yeah. So your thermistor wires would be the 24 gauge. You don't need anything major for those. And then your heater would be the 20 gauge. You don't need any more than that on your heater. That's what I'm running. So, and once again, with two mags loaded, I've got plenty of ammo. And this is I think 200 foam darts. So I have 10 mags worth of foam darts here if I'm using the extended 20 round dart magazines. You have 18 gauge. Yeah, 18 gauge would be for your heater, but 18 gauge would be way overkill for that printer. Just doesn't hurt, but it just makes your wire bundles thicker. It's not needed, I guess, where we're at. So this is our Talon claw, and like I said, I kind of like it. It's a really cool looking item, and I think I'm going to go through and be getting several others. This would be what we refer to as semi-automatic, just in the case of you have to rack it to load a round, one trigger pull, one round. There are versions of these that you can get that are actually electrical. They had a couple of foam dart ones at Murph that had electric motors in them because they kept burning them out. So if you're going to go that route, make sure you got plenty of them. The lower the gauge, the thicker the wire and the more amps that it can handle over a longer distance, right? So with the distances that we're doing on a Rook, really 20 gauge for the heater may actually be overkill, but I normally don't want to go lower than 20 gauge for the heaters. I use 20 gauge on my heater. And Apollo, what I did was I told them, because this is their first full printer build, I told them 20 gauge and 24 gauge. 24 gauge would be used for in-stop, thermistor, any type of signaling wire, low voltage signaling wire, because those things are going over like 5 volts or 3.3 volts. And then the heater wires for your hot end would be 20 gauge. Your bed, the bed is 20 gauge works perfectly fine for the bed of a Rook. If you're doing a larger printer, like a 300 size printer, I would go with an 18 gauge. But yeah, most of the time, and that's the difference. I'll try and take a picture and show you the difference between a 20 gauge FEP wire, and FEP is the type of outer insulation that they use, versus a silicone wire. Silicone wires are a lot more flexible and bendable, but you can use silicone if you're doing an umbilical. And what I mean by umbilical is we have a wire run that's going in a smooth arc on the Rook 2020. What you don't want to do is put silicone wire in a drag chain. It's still a constrained arc, but it's going to rub along the lengths of a drag chain, and you will eat up your insulation and have shorts lickety split. And that's why most people are using FEP wire today, is from doing things like Vorons and running cables through cable chains. You will eventually wear out the FEP coating on a wire in a cable chain, but it's going to last a lot longer than PVC or silicone wire. Um, yeah, you can feed it back on her. So that's what I was talking. I thought it was the thermistor, but it wasn't the thermistor. It was the heater wires have almost like a clear silicone tube on them. I was trying to strip mine, pulled it completely off, and I was like, "Oh no!" And then I realized, pull it off, trim about 3 millimeters off the end, and slide it back on. Thank you, Timor. Have a great night. Take it easy, and we will see you guys Thursday. Timor, before you go, Thursday night, we're going to be starting. We're going to be starting something on Thursday, and that is Rat Rig. We will be starting the Rat Rig on Thursday. So yeah, tugboat, you can just gentle tug, it'll come off, trim about 3 millimeters off of it, slide it back on. Those wires that go into that ceramic heater are oh, they're not stranded wire. They're solid core. There we go. And so what I did on mine was I used my um these are solder seal connectors. Um, these are for 26 to 24 gauge, but it worked fine for everything. Um, but it's these little connectors like this. The white bands on either side are the heat shrink. And then right in the middle, there's a little bit of solder. So what you do is you get both wires in there. I will hit both sides to heat shrink it down on the wires, and you've got the stripped wire in the middle, kind of crossing over each other like this. And then you concentrate the heat in the middle with your heat gun, and you'll melt that solder, and that's what solder joints the wires together. And I did this for all four of those wires, and they were right in the right spot, that as I joined everything above at the top of the extruder motor, those connections are beneath where I put my zip tie to provide cable strain, cable or strain relief. Okay, coffee is done. Bad time. Um, So yes, one last shot. This is our foam dart flinger. This is by Out of Darts. It is spring actuated foam dart flinger, and we're gonna go and have some fun with this. I think we're gonna like this. I know people that are using these just like paintball tournaments. They use these in those, and I've seen people literally tack vest up and mod the heck out of these. Start running red dot sights. You don't need anything other than a red dot on this, by the way. Which these are called Picatinny rails. So anything that you can use, you can put on here. So you can do a flashlight, you can do a laser, you can do any type of sight that you want on these. So pretty fun, pretty neat, pretty cool. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be nice to go run around the yard in the neighborhood with. And like I said, go terrorize the kids in my neighborhood that keep shooting their Nerf blasters and leaving their darts all over my yard. So, and then I'll get Evil Diesel to build one of these, or I'm going to build another one. I mean, that's it. I'm going to have to see between West 3D and Fabrico who has what. Maybe see if I can get one of them to sponsor my next build, and we're gonna build a couple of these. No need for a sniper scope. This sniper scope would be overkill for this. Red dot only. I mean, here's what I'll tell you, right? So going real world, right? I am a hunter. I go turkey hunting, I go deer hunting, um, stuff like that. I've got a standard scope on my deer rifle, which works perfectly good for the woods and the area that I am hunting in North Carolina, right? And even if you're hunting over a tilled cornfield or something, standard standard rifle scope, perfectly good. Sniper scope, you're talking long range, 500 plus yards, and those are really pricey. For turkey hunting, which you do with a shotgun, red dot's fine. If you put a scope on a shotgun, say you want to use it for deer, um, spend the money on a nice one because the recoil from a shotgun will do bad things to a standard rifle scope. Okay, seriously, you can't get this thing back on. It's like threading a needle. It will go back on. I promise you that. Um, I will tell you this though. I've got bifocals and a phone. So I will take my phone, God's honest truth, go to the camera setting and go to 3x, and then be looking at this through my bifocals to, yeah, me and wiring. Um, have I told you guys I can't wait until the election season's over with? Um, yeah, use a magnifier. If you've got a magnifier that's on helping hands or anything like that, you just need something to help magnify it and make it easier. Back in the day, when you're trying to thread needles, they had that little thing that, you can use to thread a needle. And I'm like, but you still got to get that little metal hook through the needle. That's the problem. I can't see the needle. Yeah, there you go. Dude, trust me, I've done that same thing to validate solder joints on my boards, especially the LED lights. Yeah, no shame in my game there. But yeah, really fun build. I think I'm going to do more of these. This will probably have to be something that I bring with me to Midwest or Bel Air if I'm allowed to bring them in there. But definitely not something that I would, if you're going to fly with it, do the same thing you would with any firearm. I know it's not a real firearm. I know it doesn't have live ammunition. Treat it as such, because the last thing you want to do, especially if you like tactical and either black it out or do something like this is a foam dart flinger, but it looks like, they're patterned to look very similar. So don't take any chances. That's why I made sure to use neon orange all over this as an indicator, because neon orange or bright orange, or what we call blaze orange, is a safety color, right? There you go. Do the right thing. Don't cause yourself any problems, travel delays, or anything like that. Oh yeah, and some of you may know, because I've posted occasionally here and there, I do counted cross stitch. I used to. I haven't done it in a while, but yeah, same thing. You're taking thread, you're putting it in a needle, and then you're actually like cross stitching across. I used to do 28 and 32 thread count, which means 28 or 32 squares in an inch. And I'm doing counted cross stitch. So my pattern is looking at a pixelated pattern, not a pre-printed pattern on the cloth. Right? So oh yeah, and there are people that will get so once again, blaze orange is a safety color. So hunting, you are required in my state to wear blaze orange, and it has to be 365. So vest, if you're taking the vest off, make sure you've got a hat on that's got blaze orange all the way around, right? Um, you've got to. And so a lot of people will have it on their stocks. A lot of people have camo with blaze orange in it. Once again, and that's more to protect you from other hunters than, of course, what you're looking for. So yeah, rubber guns for training, right? You use a dense rubber gun because it gives you a weight and a feel. Those are normally either orange or a bright blue. I know you're giving me off. Kentuckians are crazy. Kentuckians are crazy. I will give you that. But yeah, as I was saying, we've got the rat rig coming up. Um, it did come with all the pre-printed parts. This is ABS or ASA. I can't remember which one. Um, the printed parts, and this is something that's really nice. I'm going to be spoiled after this. Already have the heat set inserts in them. Don't have to do any heat set inserts. It's just, pop them in and go, or line them up and go. So I did get the hybrid motor kit, which means the extra Y motors. I don't know. I may wind up doing the IDEX mod once it finally becomes available down the road. I don't know. It basically gives you two colors. I don't know if you can actually. It'd be really cool if you could set up like an IDEX with like a trad rack on each side, so you could have like 8 colors through each IDEX. That would be like real killer. Yeah. Yep, there you go. Yeah, and that was painful though. I will give you that, Tugboat. Okay, so with that, it's now what, 9:30. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to get off here. Um, and then Thursday, like I said, we'll come back and we will be starting the I just realized I got a long barrel versus Thursday. We are going to be starting the rat rig. I will tell you that I've already been doing, I don't know, I may have been doing some, looking ahead and seeing what we need to get started on that. So Thursday, we will be starting with the rat rig build. This is going to be an epic printer, an epic build. I did get the 300 size, not the larger size. But the nice thing with this is you can store so much on the inside of this. You've got 3 different modes. You've got the standard mode, the hybrid mode, which adds additional Y motors, and then an IDEX mode. So you can either do 2 prints at the same time in copy or mirror mode. You can use them on the same one. You've got 3 different sizes, a 300, a 400, or a 500. It will use a beacon probe, and it does do that both with contact to set the Z height, and then a bed mesh using the coil sensor, the eddy sensor. You can get a full kit or a configurable kit. You notice that there is a spool of filament in here. You can actually have 4 spools of filament in here, or a heater, or a skirt cooling fan, or whatever. There's enough room in these printers that you can add various bits, pieces, and stuff in them. So, ooh, multi-material upgrade in partnership with Helg Keck. Okay, so there's a HEPA carbon filter. In the when they say the multi-material unit, you can actually have that multi-material unit fully inside the printer. That's what I mean by there is enough space within the printer frame that you can run various things inside the printer frame, which means, here you go, extra room can be used for parking space for an IDEX tool head, up to 4 spool holders inside the chamber, which means if you're printing with a high temp filament like ABS, polycarbonate, nylon, you dry your filament, you load your filament as you're printing. Because you're printing from within the chamber, it is staying dry and preheating basically as you're printing, right? You can have like an active heater, HEPA filters, side air curtain for part cooling. You can have your MMU internal to it. So all kinds of neat things in here. This is going to be really cool. MGN 12 rails for the X and the Y, HG15s. We did the HG15s for the Milo. Big chonkers, right? So yeah, there's all kinds of coolness in this. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, just really cool. But this is going to be the build that we're going to work on next. We're going to start that on Thursday, and we'll build this during the weekdays. Milo, I've got everything wired up to include the VFD. I need to check and see if I can bring that up on a 15 amp circuit and go through the initial setup and test. If not, what I'm going to have to do is the only place I currently have a 20 amp circuit is out in my shed, which means I'll have to take Milo outside to the shed and we'll have to figure out how to set up a mini streaming setup with the laptop and one camera to go through the initial setup phase of that. And then from that point on, it would be most likely just, go out there and film things to either upload to Twitch and YouTube or something like that on going through and doing the initial cuts, or not the initial cuts, but the cramming and basic setup and fixturing and trying to do an initial cut, right? That's kind of the plan moving forward with that stuff. We also will have the V01 tear down and rebuild as a V02. And at some point, once it gets set, we will have a positron build. So yeah, that's kind of what we got going on. We also have the droids. So we need to get the droids in here. I was working on trying to reprint Chopper and doing a multicolor print so I didn't have to paint Chopper. Yeah, the multicolor thing wasn't coming out so well, so I'm going to have to still work on that. We'll figure that out. But long story short, thanks everybody for being here. Sorry about that. We're going to get out of here now. Let me take a look and see who we can potentially raid out to this evening, who's already up and running. It's Tuesday night. Who we got on? Declarations, doing some Star Wars nerds, first place. Dave Ross doing a self-portrait. Big Jano's up and running. Ooh, what is he doing? No, let's go over to Jano. Like he's got some printing and stuff going on and just chatting. Sorry about that, folks. I'm going to get the raid going over to Jano. Thank you once again, everybody, for being here. Thank you for hanging out. As I said, we're doing some cool new builds here, and we're trying to get some new stuff set up to help those builds out. So thank you, everybody, for being here tonight and joining me as we did our Talon Claw. There will be other soft foam flingy things built here in the future. So thank you all for being here. I will see you all again on Thursday. Have a good one. Bye now.